Are we ready? All right.
You're ready.
Should I look at the camera or should I just...
You can look at the camera.
Hello and welcome to What We Learned This Week, where we talk about what we learned this week. I'm Ryan Harp.
Oh, I'm Diana Theisinger.
And I'm Mike Blum.
So, what did we learn this week?
So Roy asked me to come down here and record something, but he didn't tell me I needed to have learned something. So I just don't know if I'm qualified.
So you've learned that you should not listen to Roy.
I have learned to be skeptical of Roy's invitations. Okay, I learned something cool. We have a cool thing going on at STLI this week, which is we have some visiting candidates who have interviewed for our associate director opening. And I feel like I learned a lot from both of the finalists who visited this week. But one idea was for a way to keep up with scholarly research in kind of a distributed labor kind of way. I feel like that's triggering political words that I don't know. Maybe you should cut that, Roy. Anyway, the idea was that each person on their team would take a journal or two, an academic journal or two that was relevant to the work that they were doing in teaching and learning, and really closely follow everything that was published in that journal. And then quarterly or so, they would share out the interesting trends that they had learned about, or make a highlight list, a top 10 list of things that they felt the whole team would benefit from reading, or that faculty would benefit from reading, and share them out. And I love that idea as a way for STLI to stay up to date on the hot new trends in teaching and learning in higher education.
Oh, that's nice. You just made me think of something else that I learned with that.
Oh.
Because I wasn't going to say anything related to the job talks, but
Okay.
I thought the job talks were really interesting for that. And one of the candidates was just kept on spewing out ideas, and it was interesting to hear all the ideas. But one of the things that we do is we consult with faculty members, but then we also have this new push for the scholarship of teaching and learning, and we'd like to figure out how to get more faculty members interested in the scholarship for teaching and learning. And while we do a good job consulting with faculty members and getting them to try things in their classes, maybe what we do is we piggyback on that and we give them an opportunity to do a small study, because they all want to say, how does this, is this going to work, right? Well, let's do that. Let's build that into the consultation, and we'll say, okay, here's the thing that we want you to try, and here's a small way that you can evaluate how that worked. And that's a little piece of scholarship of teaching and learning. That's a scaffolded step that they can really take on, and we can help them with. So that was super exciting for me to kind of have that moment where I put those two things together. So that was really great for me to learn that.
Well, I don't know how much this is going to connect, but one thing we did in one of my classes, we just did this. I had the class this morning. For the last session, we just basically spent the entire class just talking about what worked in the course and what didn't, how the course might be better when it's taught again, just an open discussion for people to suggest changes or additions. And I don't know, I really like that because it not only helped me come to terms with what we did in the semester, it was just nice to know that our input was being taken into consideration for the future.
Ryan, I see a connection.
Great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what you just described is one example of what Mike was talking about, which then in turn could become an example of what I was talking about.
I was just being humble. I knew that they all tied in.
It's the circle of life.
No,
I'm going to throw a new one in. A new thing I learned this week is that Trader Joe's makes a delicious gingerbread cookie sandwich.
I'm obsessed with Trader Joe's.
Yeah, just in general, full stop. Okay.
Yeah.
So tie that one in. There you go.
Well, actually, I went to Trader Joe's yesterday. I bought the peppermint chocolate dip JoJo's. Yeah.
This is highly related to teaching and learning in higher education. I love it.
Yeah, I try to hit Trader Joe's up at least once a week, and that's where I buy cheese.
I bought cheese there yesterday.
Because their cheese is super inexpensive compared to other places, and they've always got something interesting.
Their prices are great.
Their
I mean,
prices are really
I
good.
replaced eating out with buying food from Trader Joe's once a week.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can make like a nice charcuterie plate, and plus you get to say charcuterie, which reminds me of the Yiddish word of the day. If you want to hear the Yiddish word of the
Yes.
day.
That's why we're here.
I
Actually.
bring this up every episode that I'm going to bring back Yiddish word of the day.
Yiddish word of the day. I've been thinking about this, and one of my favorite Yiddish words, they have lots of words for like types of people, like usually loser kind of people.
Yeah.
And my favorite, it's kind of two words. It's schlemiel and schlemazel. Anyone who has ever watched Laverne and Shirley, that old TV show, know that schlemiel, schlemazel, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. But a schlemiel and a schlemazel are like a yin and yang. The schlemiel is the guy who spills his soup. The schlemazel is the guy he spills it on.
Oh,
Yes.
better to be the schmeal than the schmomazeled.
Exactly.
Unless you're really hungry.
Or cold.
Yeah.
Like a nice warm soup
That's
bath.
right.
I had heard that before,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we brought that segment
Wow.
back.
This is compelling content from the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation.
And that is what we learned this week.
We make teaching and learning fun. That's
At least for ourselves.
Are you going to say that?
Uh,
Is that your line?
What,
Is that like
normally I just say, this has been what we learned this week. See you next week.
Oh, so Roy is just making this up. We make teaching and learning fun.
Yeah, he came up with that on the spot.
That's good.
That was...
Did you want that to be the tagline, or you're just saying that's your contribution?
Yeah, make it fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can talk about Trader Joe's. We can talk about evaluations.
Hopefully you can do some
We can
light
talk
edits
about
on
everything.
this.
But the amazing thing for me in this particular conversation was I didn't have anything to say. I was going to say something about knitting. And then when you said what you said, it really did connect to something that I learned and had forgotten about. That I wanted to bring up with the team, and now, I have to actually do something about it because I've mentioned it in a public venue.
It's out there on the YouTube.
And then, Ryan, you weren't going to say what you said, probably, were you?
No, I always come up with it
Right,
right in the
and
moment.
that's amazing. And so what you said, I mean, directly connected to what we were talking about, and gave
Beautiful.
us affirmation from the students' perspective, which, I mean, that's what we love. That's what we need. That's why we love having you guys around. Is that you have that.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you.
No, thank you.
Perfect. We got it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. It was a good one.